Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's video going to be a review of Celtic's rather awful, dispiriting, disappointing 3-0 defeat for a start to 2025, a game in which Celtic never really turned up. Celtic were well beaten, and it was, for me, as it says in the title, the worst performance by Celtic in 600 days, even worse than the 7-1 loss to Borussia Dortmund. The game 600 days ago was the 3-0 defeat also to Rangers on the 13th of May 2023, late in Ange Postecoglou's second and final season. That game at least was a game in which there was nothing really riding on the results. Celtic had already well won the title. However, Celtic, for me, looked slow. They looked not in the least bit fired up for the fixture. They were second to every ball. They were slow physically, slow mentally, had no ideas, and Celtic's senior players and Rodgers didn't do anything to change the pattern of the match, didn't get Celtic back into the game, and all around it was an awful performance, and Celtic got, in the end, out the game what they deserved, which was a defeat. The video today will have a wee look at some of the stats, one or two of which are a wee bit surprising given the fact that we lost the game 3-0. Also my own personal ratings for the players, and as you would expect, not many of them come out the game with any real credit or positive marks, and one or two wee thoughts regarding the game itself. Before we do crack on with the actual video, please do, if you are new to the channel, please do click that subscriber button. One or two new subscribers every day would make me so happy and help me get over yesterday's very disappointing loss. So do, if you are new to the channel, like a slightly different alternative way at looking at Celtic matters and Celtic stories and Celtic news, please do click that subscriber button. Keep the numbers pushing further and further up. If you do like the video, please do click that like button and do pop your pleasant, polite thoughts, opinions, comments into the comment section regarding yesterday's performance, the ratings, how you see Celtic over the next few matches, as we do have a very busy January. Pretty much 2 games every week throughout the month, with a couple of very important Champions League final qualifier matches at the end of the month. So I think Celtic do need to get back on the horse, back at their best for the weekend, and I'm pretty sure, almost certain, that Celtic will be back to normal on Sunday against St Mirren and keeping ourselves 11 points ahead. And I think that's one of the important things to remember. We are 11 points ahead, which is a massive lead. Our goal difference is massively more than our big rivals in second place. And so it is, in effect, a 12-point gap, with a combination of the 11 actual points we are ahead, plus the big goal difference. And I also think that over the course of the final months between January and May, our bigger, better, stronger squad will be able to keep up the performances, playing a couple of games a week, and I think Rangers will, personally, I think Rangers will struggle, especially if they do lose, as expected, a few more players in this transfer window. The game actually started quite brightly for Celtic. Celtic actually had a chance very early on, a corner across the box. Kyogo was free at the back post. There was a Rangers player there to pressurise him, and as a result, Kyogo failed to get the ball under control, failed to take his chance, and so a chance to get ahead 1-0 and get the crowd on their back was lost. And I think Rangers got themselves more and more into the game. Some atrocious passing and defending by Liam Scales, some atrocious recovery, running and pressure from Celtic's midfield and Celtic's defence allowed Raskin to set up Hadji. Hadji had a very nice shot from the edge of the box into Kasper Schmeichel's goal. Schmeichel had no chance to save. 1-0 down after 7 minutes. Celtic really never got back into the game. All our passes were misplaced. We were slow to the ball, slow thinking, slow to see opportunities, and all the players seemed to be on different pages as to which pass, which move, which run to make. And also, I thought that our midfielders were very poor at creating runs to give the defenders space to pass into. The wide players were the worst I've seen in months in terms of making good runs. Kuhn's pace and control and invention and creation were all completely absent. Maeda's did show in a couple of little bursts of good play now and again, but he was massively under par as well. And so all around at Celtic were rubbish. Saying all that, we did nearly have a chance late in the first half, 5 minutes into added time. Rio Hatate at the back post had a shot from around 12 yards or so. Unfortunately, hit the ball into the ground a bit, which did give Kelly a chance in the Rangers' goal to make the save. I think had Hatate hit that shot properly, either hitting it high towards the top corner or keeping it low to the bottom corner, there would be no chance for Kelly to save it. However, bouncing it into the turf took a lot of the pace off it, and it then ended up being a nice height for Kelly to push the ball away. Celtic did start the second half quite brightly. We got ourselves back into the game for a few minutes. We did have, unfortunately, a goal disallowed by a few centimetres by Kyogo. I think had that goal gone in, it probably would have recharged Celtic's batteries and gotten them back into the game. However, it was correctly given offside, and shortly after, Rodgers made some substitutions, which all were pretty much failures. Rangers got their second goal, some very poor defending at corner, leaving Proper completely free at the back post. Celtic looked rather disorganised. No one really seemed to be knowing who was marking who. Had a low ball across the box, broke to Proper, unmarked to the back post, and we're 2-0 down. And in the 81st minute, Danilo got a third goal. We gave the ball away again around the halfway line. I think Luke McCowan was the culprit this time. Midfield very slow to get back. Defence very slow to come around. Carter Vickers ending up having 3 people to mark because Scales completely lost his runner. Valley didn't tug across. McGregor didn't come back to help the defence. And there were 2 Rangers players, 3 in the box, and Danilo popped the ball away, 3-0 down. And in the end, Celtic seemed to me very slow, second best to every duel, second best to every free ball. Rangers were quicker to everything, quicker thinking, quicker running, and showed all the desire and energy and pace that usually we do. They mopped up Celtic's attacks, they nullified everything, they defended well, and in the end, they got their deserved 3-0 win. I think Celtic will take this as a lesson. Brendan Rodgers, I think, kind of implying there may have been a bit of complacency in his attitude to the game and the players' attitude to the game. And certainly I did think there were times in his pre-match press conference that he did seem a wee bit smug and overconfident. And hopefully that did not transmit to the players. However, I think, as it did on a couple of occasions last season, I think defeats will get the team back together, Rodgers and the coaching staff back together, everybody on the same page, much like we were when we responded to the disappointing 2-0 loss to Hearts before Christmas, and a similar 2-0 loss to Hearts in the spring of 2024. Looking at the stats, surprisingly, Celtic actually had 60% of the possession to 40 by Rangers. We didn't, however, use the ball at all well. They had 24 shots to our 4, 9 shots on target for them, 1 for us, 6 off targets for them, 3 off targets for us. And Rangers had 9 shots blocked by our defenders. We had no shots blocked by their defenders. Kasper Schmeichel made 6 saves for us. Liam Kelly 1 save for them. Corners were 8-4 in Rangers' favour. And slightly surprising, touched in the box, 26 for Rangers, 20 for Celtic. Does show that we did get the ball into the box. We did have threatening situations. However, our final ball, our final shot, our final attempt to get free in the box, all of those failed. We did, in retrospect, have a few chances where we could have got a goal. If Kyogo had slightly timed his run better, we're 1-1 with half an hour to go. If he just gets that ball under control in the first minute, we're 1-0 up. If Hatate hits that shot better, we're 1-1 going into half time with all the momentum. But football can be and is a game of ifs and buts. Moving on to the player ratings, not surprisingly, very few of the Celtic players get a pass mark for yesterday's game. Given 6 for Kasper Schmeichel, I thought he made a couple of good saves, nothing particularly difficult to save, had no chance with any of the 3 goals. However, his distribution wasn't up to its usual standards. A lot of the passes were wayward, overhit, underhit, and difficult for the defenders to cope with. His organisation of the defence wasn't at its best. At the corner and the crosses, things should have been much better organised. And quite often Rangers players were getting space they shouldn't have done. So I think that's partly down to Carter Vickers, partly down to Scales, partly down to McGregor, partly down to Schmeichel, but largely down to Schmeichel. 6 for Alistair Johnston. I thought defensively he did fine. Rangers had very little threat down their left, our right. However, Johnston, rather poor in midfield, rather poor in the final third, didn't seem to be on the same page as Kuhn, Bernardo, Hatate and McGregor. A lot of times Johnston got himself into a position to overlap and then bailed out on the run quite a few times. Celtic did give a ball in behind for Johnston to get, didn't go for it. Quite a few times he and Kuhn and Bernardo got their passes all wrong, and I thought in his other 2 roles he was rather poor. So 6 for him, 3.5 for Liam Scales. Awful performance. Don't think Scales is well suited to this sort of fixture. In the League Cup final, he made quite a number of errors and was caught out on many occasions. In that game, it didn't cost us. This time around, his poor passing, his slow thinking, slow running, slow movement, poor positioning defensively, poor ability to track back if the other team counter-attacks, all those things were caught us out. His atrocious pass gave the first goal chance away. His poor marking, poor tracking back allowed Rangers to have 2 players free in the box for the third goal, and he is partly to blame for the poor clearance of the ball that allowed the ball through to the back post for the second goal. So 3.5 for him. Greg Taylor 4. All around poor performance by Taylor. Czerny there, left-footed, right-sided winger, had him on toast the whole way through. Taylor was beaten many, many times. He didn't seem to have any ability to control Czerny, who was a threat throughout the game, passing and cutting in and shooting. And Taylor was very rarely any influence in midfield, never an influence in the final third, and had a pretty awful performance. So 4 for him. Given Carter Vickers 7 and man of the match, I think he's the one and only Celtic player who comes out of the game with any credit. Many times he was trying to mark 3 Rangers players, trying to do all the defensive work by himself because Scales was so rubbish. And a couple of times he did make goal-saving tackles. 4 or 5 times he did make nice clearances, nice tackles, winning duels, which Celtic very rarely did yesterday. So 7 for him. I've given 4 for Paulo Bernardo. Awful performance. Didn't get involved in the hustle and bustle and fight of the midfield. Tracking back, very poor. Passing, very poor. Never really created a chance. Never made a shot on goal. 4 for him. 4.5 for Rio Hatate, much the same as Paulo Bernardo. Very few good passes. Did have a shot on goal, which was well saved at the end of the first half. However, had he hit it properly, that should have been and could have been our equaliser. And it probably is Rio Hatate's worst performance since he got back into fitness and into the team last April. 5 for Callum McGregor, probably again his worst performance I've seen for years for Celtic. No leadership, no captaincy, no ability to get the other players playing. He was slow thinking, slow moving, caught on the ball many times. He rarely ever hit the killer pass, rarely ever made a good interception. And 5 for him, 4.5, sorry, 3.5 for Nicholas Kuhn. Terrible performance, no pace, no imagination, no energy, no creativity, no threat. A couple of times he did make nice cuts in field from the wing, but rather than taking a shot on goal, which in 2 occasions was easily the best option, tried to make a pinpoint pass through the Rangers defence and failed miserably. So 3.5 for him, 4.5 for Dyson Maida. He did slightly better than Kuhn, but very disappointing up and down that left wing. A couple of times he did get into a shooting position, but failed miserably. And also his tracking back and energy helping midfield and defence was lacking yesterday as well. And I think it's the worst performance I've seen by Maida and Kuhn in the last year or so. 6 for Kyogo. I thought he showed quite a lot of energy in the first half, made some nice runs. Our players didn't pick him out. Sadly, his nice run to give himself a chance in the second half was just offside. Sadly, he failed to control what could have been an easy tap in at the back post a minute into the game. And 2 or 3 other times the ball did get into his feet. He did get a chance to run at the defence, but the Rangers players seemed to have more pace, more energy than him, and his run and move was cut off. So 6 for him. The subs I thought were all disappointing. McCowan, Valley, and Ida all came on with half an hour to go, a full chance to change the game. None of them did at all well. McCowan, very poor. I thought it was an awful performance for him. 4 out of 10. He was at fault for giving away the ball for the third goal. Nothing creative, no good passes, no shots, and 4 for him. 5 for Valley. I thought he did an okay job getting forward into midfield, final third. However, again, Charney and the Rangers' right side attack had him beaten on many occasions, didn't come across to help out in defence for the third goal, so 5 for him. 5 for Ida. I thought he led the line nicely, however, really wasn't much of a threat in the box, never really giving him the players a good run for a cross or a pass. And so 5 for him. Given 4 for Arnie Engels. Didn't really have enough time to change the game. Didn't really do anything. He did look rather pale and tired and not well, and reportedly he had been ill in the morning, and so not given his expected start. And of course, possibly even worse, he was hit in the head by a couple of missiles thrown from the crowd. I really do hope that Rangers follow through with their assertion that they will track down who threw the missiles, pass it on to the police, and hopefully whoever threw the missiles at Engels gets banned for life. And I really hope that the Scottish footballing authorities do also act harshly, as this sort of incident has happened far too often in Rangers Celtic matches at Ibrox. Finally, just a wee update on transfers and contracts, etc. Nothing definite, nothing concrete as yet regarding Stephen Welsh going off to Mechelen on loan for the rest of the season. Nothing concrete on Odin Thiago Holm going off on loan to LAFC in Major League Soccer. It would appear that Internacional of Brazil have sent representatives across to Celtic for final negotiations, and it's thought that the transfer of Alessandro Bernabé to Internacional in Brazil should go through over the weekend. It would appear that negotiations regarding Kieran Tierney coming to Celtic are starting off and starting to become more advanced. Still a lot of uncertainty as to what the deal would be between Celtic and Arsenal and Tierney if it does go ahead. Some thoughts that it might simply be a pre-contract and he starts with Celtic in the summer of 2025. Other times, their suggestions are that Celtic will get Kieran Tierney on loan, with Celtic paying the bulk or all of his current salary, which would be probably towards £2 million for January to the end of May. Now, the thought is that Celtic may be offered Kieran Tierney for a transfer fee of £2.5 million, and be able to sign him straight away to the squad. All those things still seem up in the air and all seem currently to be speculation. No other news of players leaving or coming in. And so just to finish off, I think this is just a wee blip. I think we should keep it front of our heads. We are 11 points ahead. Our goal difference is massively better than our big rivals in second place. I think Celtic have got a bigger, better squad. I think once we get back on the correct page, all back playing together, I think Celtic will power towards the second and third bits of the treble and also get into the playoffs, last 16 of the Champions League. I think Celtic will take this much like they did when they lost to Hearts 2-0 just before Christmas 2023, which triggered a good spell of matches, including a win over Rangers in the corresponding fixture at the end of 2023. And also, same way that we kick-started our season after that disappointing 2-0 loss away to Hearts in the spring of 2024. We must remember, since that game against Hearts in the spring of 2024, right through to this first game of 2025, we have been unbeaten in all Scottish domestic football. And I think Celtic will get back at their best on Sunday. Maybe one or two wee changes to the squad. I'd be delighted to see Valley come in at left back, Trusty come in at centre back. Hopefully Engels will get over the bug that put him under the weather yesterday, and hopefully McGregor, Hatate, Kuhn, Maeda all get back into good, healthy, fit, physically and mentally good form. And so, until the next video, which will be a preview of the St Mirren match on Sunday, I'll do that video sometime on Saturday. Until that next video, goodbye and hail, hail.